All right, today we're gonna be talking about multi-day runners. Listen, I'm a huge fan of confirmation and ultimately focusing on as few setups as possible and not getting overwhelmed. So welcome back everyone, I'm lead trainer with Stock Trade, Tim Bohen. I'm going to assume a few things for the sake of this video. I'm going to assume you're new to trading. You probably went to the YouTube search bar and like how to day trade and found our channel. Subscribe, it's a great channel, check out the archive. But the point is, I'm guessing you're probably pretty new to this or you're struggling, okay? Maybe you've been around for a little while and you're really busy and you haven't had time to focus and you're struggling. Maybe you've been trading for years and hasn't quite clicked. Now, one of the biggest things I will say for both, whether you're new or struggling, or maybe both, probably both, you're new and struggling, but one of the very first things I will tell you is to focus on multi-day runners versus there's a couple terms I use like the day oneers or the one and dones, okay? A good example of that is like today, NUWE, okay? NUWE had some news on congestive heart failure, fluid in the heart. Listen, in pre-market, you can see, had pretty good volume, had a nice spike, but you go back to the chart and you can see it's done this before. Like back here in June, you can see it spiked up big. Look at the candles, closed low, then 6 red days in a row. You look at back in December or August, September, did a reverse split, but actually ran the day of the reverse split, but then geez, like 10 red days in a row. So basically what I'm getting at, the chart history is a one and done chart. And then also, sure, it gapped up big, it was in play, a lot of people were talking about this news, but it's not a hot sector. Okay, artificial intelligence is the hottest stuff out there. Bitcoin plays are back today, Riot, Mara up, Bitcoin's running again, electric vehicles are back. So it's kind of like, even though it was good news, it was one of those stocks that nobody really cared about. So look at that, big spike, big fail. So that's that one and done, and that's that day oneer. Now, let's say NUWE didn't fail. Like let's say it gapped up huge and just went sideways all day. And like let's say it closed at 380. Like no big spike after the initial spike, but it closed near the high and closed flat and above VWAP and all these things we look for. Well, now this is going to be very close to the top of the list for tomorrow because it survived into the afternoon. Vice versa, NUWE, you can see it's currently red on the day, sitting there, it's repeating the same thing it's done twice in the last year. So if you would have been focused on multi-day runners, you would have never went near NUWE because you would be waiting for it to close strong. Now, great example on the flip side is AI, the stock, okay? AI, the ticker. Again, it's red today, but I mean, if you go and look at the chart on this thing, look at how many times this thing is closed near the high and then gapped down the next day, went green, and proceeded to go on a multi-day run. It happened in January, it happened in March, it happened in later in March, it happened in May, and as recently as this month now, gapped down after earnings, did a red to green in the 30s and ran up to 48 bucks. I mean, yeah, it's got a couple red days now, but if you would have traded that post earnings after that gap down after earnings, you're like $15 of up, 50% of upside on this thing. And this stock, if you've been trading, you know this thing has been the best multi-day runner. I mean, this was the very first artificial intelligence stock back in January, and it was at like 10 bucks, okay? And you look at 2 days ago, it was at 48 bucks. Sure, it's pulling back, it's still at $43. It's 400% up in a real stock. I mean, this isn't like some sketchy penny stock. So if you know how to trade these multi-day runners and capitalize on that, you'll be able to find some of the best trades. And then the other way we do that to identify those, and I love this as that afternoon strategy, is we run what's called the VWAP hold scan. And this is gonna find us stocks that are closing strong over the day, and then we can add them to our multi-day watch list. And if a stock is trading good volume above VWAP, has news like AAOI, just a nice kind of sideways gradual uptrender, but it has news, has unusual volume, and has a very nice chart pattern here. Just a nice gradual trend, and then check this out. Look at this daily chart. Woo! Look at that thing. I mean, it broke out at 4 bucks 3 or 4 days ago and just has been green every day. So my friends, if this closes right here, it basically VWAP is currently 530, it's at 539. If this closes right here, this is, now no trade is guaranteed, okay? You always have to have risk management, you always have to have a stop loss. This closes right here. This is as textbook as it gets as a week open ready green for a multi-day pattern. You could say, hey, 5-6 green days in a row. Well, look at that chart. This thing looks like it's speeding up, and we may be set for that parabolic candle. And it's just a great breakout on the 52-week chart, great breakout on the 15-day chart, both time frames I recommend using, and a beautiful breakout on the intraday or the 1-day 5-minute chart. Line up all of your time frames, match those up with VWAP, match those up with the scan, match those up with the stock trading unusual volume, and with news. And I mean, they're not necessarily artificial intelligence, but it is networking, fiber optics, it's technology. So a kind of hot sector, not the hottest hot sector out there, but it is technology. And you look at all these technology stocks, NVIDIA, Apple, everything tech. I mean, if you look at 2023, technology stocks have been the hottest overall trend out there. You got a tech stock. So that's why we love multi-day moves. Avoid the one and dones, and AAOI is a great setup that doesn't move wild, doesn't spook you out, doesn't panic you as a new trader. So that being said, my friends, if you want to get more in depth on trading, seeing this stuff live, seeing the scans live, you can get on the Daily Income Trader System webinars. Click that link below, live 6 times a day, starting out in the morning, all through the day, up into evenings, and even on weekends. Take advantage of the weekends. The fact that we're doing these webinars on Saturday and Sunday. Saturdays, typically, we're running that Weekend Warrior workshop, I call it. On those Saturday ones, I get really technical into how to run these scans and how to build a watch list, as well as to pick the levels for the coming week. Sunday nights, typically it's Matt Monaco doing those webinars. We do have a team. Matt does most of the Sunday nights, but it's great. He's 9 o'clock Sunday night doing the same thing to get you kickstarted for first thing Monday morning when I go live at 8:30 Eastern with members of the Daily Income Trader System. So it's like this great way to get all that education and get ready to crush it on a stock like VSIG today. I know I keep bringing this stock up, but just an amazing runner this morning when it broke the high of the day at about 10:30 a.m. and went from $4 to $11. We were all over that on the morning webinar. Matt talked about it as well. We crush these stocks. We're always out in front. Check out that link to the Daily Income Trader System webinars.